Did you know that eating certain foods for breakfast after 60 could quietly harm your health? Breakfast is often called the most important meal of the day, but for seniors, it can also be one of the most dangerous if you're eating the wrong things. In this video, we're going to uncover 6 popular breakfast foods that many older adults still eat every day without realizing how much they're draining their energy, stressing their organs, or even raising their risk of chronic disease. These aren't rare or exotic foods. In fact, they're often labeled as healthy, light, or classic by the brands that sell them. But what they really do inside the body, especially the older body, is far from harmless. Stay tuned through the end because we're not just telling you what to avoid. You'll learn why these foods are particularly harmful after 60, what they do to your heart, brain, and digestion, and how to make better swaps that still taste good and keep you feeling full and steady throughout the morning. Whether you're 60, 70, or pushing 80, the food you choose at the start of your day has a ripple effect. It can give you energy or take it away. It can help your memory or make you foggy by lunchtime. And it can support your blood pressure or spike it before you even leave the kitchen table. Let's get into the 6 common breakfast foods that older adults should rethink starting today. Number 1, sugary cereals and breakfast granas. One of the most common breakfast habits among older adults is pouring a quick bowl of cereal, especially those labeled whole grain, lightly sweetened, or heart healthy. But what most people don't realize is that many of these cereals are loaded with added sugars and processed carbs that can quietly wreak havoc on an aging body. The problem isn't just the sugar you see on the label. It's also the type of carbohydrates that break down into sugar within minutes of eating. When you start your morning with a high glycemic cereal, your blood sugar spikes quickly. And while that might give you a temporary lift, it's almost always followed by a crash, leaving you tired, shaky, irritable, or craving more carbs by mid-morning. There's a man named Harold, 71, who used to eat a bowl of Raisin Bran every morning. He chose it because it sounded healthy. But despite taking his medications and walking regularly, his A1C kept creeping up. His doctor suggested removing processed cereals for 1 month just to see what happened. Harold switched to steel-cut oats with cinnamon and a handful of walnuts. Not only did his blood sugar stabilize, but he also said he felt more alert and steady all day. It wasn't about eating less, it was about eating smarter. Another hidden danger in many cereals and granas is the presence of added preservatives, artificial flavors, and sometimes even hydrogenated oils to improve crunch or shelf life. These ingredients increase inflammation, something most older adults are already battling quietly through arthritis, blood pressure, or memory concerns. Even granas that look natural can be misleading. Many are baked with syrups and honey blends that create clusters, but also deliver more sugar than a donut. A small handful might be fine, but most people pour a bowl, top it with fruit or sweetened yogurt, and unknowingly start the day with 40 grams of sugar before they've even gotten dressed. What makes this issue more serious in older adults is how the metabolism changes. After 60, insulin resistance often increases and digestion slows. The body becomes less efficient at handling sugar, and the pancreas has to work harder to keep blood glucose in check. That's why something that seemed fine in your 40s can suddenly feel like a weight, dragging your energy down in your 70s. The fix doesn't mean giving up breakfast. It means shifting what's in your bowl. Unsweetened oats, plain yogurt with berries, boiled eggs with whole grain toast, or even savory options like avocado can keep you full and fueled without sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster. Because the way you start your morning doesn't just shape your next few hours, it shapes your long-term health, energy, and independence. And if you've been feeling more tired lately despite sleeping well, or you crash after breakfast without knowing why, your cereal box might be the first place to look. Number 2, processed breakfast meats like bacon and sausage. Bacon, sausage, and ham are staples on many breakfast plates across America, and for good reason. They smell great, taste even better, and have been part of traditional breakfast for generations. But for seniors between 60 and 80, starting the day with processed meats can quietly take a toll on the heart, blood vessels, and overall longevity in ways that often go unnoticed until it's too late. These meats are packed with saturated fat and sodium, 2 things that put added stress on the cardiovascular system, especially as we age. Saturated fats can raise LDL cholesterol, the type that clogs arteries and increases the risk of heart attack or stroke. Meanwhile, the sodium content in just 2 strips of bacon or 1 sausage patty can be enough to spike your blood pressure for the entire morning. And that doesn't even account for the preservatives. Most of these meats are cured with nitrates or nitrites compounds used to preserve color and shelf life. But once digested, those compounds can form substances called nitrosamines, which have been linked to inflammation, insulin resistance, and an increased risk of certain cancers. For older adults who may already have a sensitive digestive tract, weaker kidneys, or a family history of heart disease, this kind of chemical exposure becomes especially risky. There's a woman named Eileen, 74, who used to enjoy a sausage and egg sandwich every morning. She thought it was giving her protein to start the day, but over time, she began noticing swelling in her ankles, and her doctor mentioned that her blood pressure had crept into the danger zone. Once she reduced her sodium and began replacing sausage with avocado and hard-boiled eggs, the swelling eased, and so did her numbers. The issue isn't just about fat. It's about how the body processes food differently after 60. The kidneys become less efficient at filtering out excess salt. Blood vessels become more sensitive to cholesterol buildup, and the metabolism slows, meaning those dense, greasy foods sit longer in the digestive system, making you feel heavier, more tired, and sometimes even foggy by midday. And for many, these foods don't just appear once a week. They're daily habits. A few strips of bacon here, a breakfast sandwich there, sausage with pancakes at the diner, it adds up. The problem isn't having them once in a while. It's that the routine feels normal, even though the body is struggling behind the scenes to recover from the daily load. A better option: try lean protein swaps like grilled turkey slices, plant-based breakfast patties, or eggs paired with fiber-rich veggies. Even something as simple as a slice of whole grain toast with almond butter offers more lasting fuel than processed meat ever could. Because when you're older, your breakfast isn't just a meal, it's medicine. It either helps your body recover and stay strong, or it makes your system work harder than it needs to. And when you start making small changes, even one food at a time, you begin giving your body the support it's been asking for all along. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, white bread and refined pastries. White toast, pancakes, bagels, and those tempting muffins at the coffee shop might seem like harmless breakfast choices, especially when paired with coffee and a little jam. But if you're between 60 and 80, these refined carbs are quietly working against your energy, your digestion, and your long-term blood sugar stability. What makes white bread and pastries so risky isn't just the flour. It's how fast it turns into sugar. These foods are made with highly processed white flour, which has been stripped of fiber, nutrients, and the natural bran that slows digestion. The result, when you eat them, your blood sugar spikes almost immediately, triggering a release of insulin that often overshoots, leaving you feeling tired, irritable, or hungry again soon after. And that roller coaster effect isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Over time, repeated spikes and crashes can wear down the body's ability to regulate insulin. For older adults, that means increased risk of prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or worsening glucose control for those who already have it. All from what seemed like a light breakfast. I knew a man named Carl, 68, who loved starting his mornings with a toasted English muffin and jelly. It was his habit for years, but despite watching his calories and walking daily, his weight wouldn't budge, and his afternoon crashes were getting worse. Once he swapped his morning muffin for a slice of sprouted grain, toast with a little almond butter and half a banana, things changed. He said he finally felt steady from breakfast until lunch for the first time in years. Another hidden problem with pastries: they're often baked with trans fats, even if the label says 0 grams. That's because regulations allow for small amounts to be rounded down. These fats linger in the bloodstream, raise bad cholesterol, and increase inflammation, especially in older arteries and joints that are already sensitive with age. And even for those who think, I just have a little, The impact can build. A biscuit at breakfast, a Danish from the senior center, a few bites of leftover toast, it might not feel like much. But over time, these small daily choices can influence how you feel, how steady your energy is, and how well your brain and heart function day to day. Better swaps aren't about denying yourself. They're about fueling yourself better. Choose whole grain or sprouted bread that actually has fiber. Top it with something that gives you healthy fat and protein, like natural peanut butter, cottage cheese, or a poached egg. Or go savory with tomato slices, avocado, or hummus. These options digest more slowly, keep your blood sugar even, and help you feel clear, not cloudy. Because breakfast isn't just about getting full, it's about setting the tone. And when you feed your body what it truly needs, it pays you back in energy, clarity, and resilience throughout the day. Number 4, flavored yogurts with hidden sugars. Yogurt often gets a health halo, especially the flavored kind that claims to support digestion, boost protein, or offer a light start to the day. But for seniors trying to eat smarter, most of these products are not as harmless as they seem. In fact, starting your morning with sweetened yogurt can quietly undermine your energy, your gut health, and your efforts to manage weight or blood sugar. What many people don't realize is that even small containers of flavored yogurt often contain more sugar than a slice of cake. Some have upwards of 20 grams in a single serving, and that's before adding any fruit or granola. That sugar spike doesn't just flood your bloodstream. It forces your body to work harder to bring levels back down, which can leave you feeling tired or hungry just an hour or two later. And it's not just table sugar. Many of these yogurts use fruit syrups, concentrated juices, or artificial sweeteners that confuse the gut. For older adults, the digestive system is more sensitive than it used to be. The balance of bacteria in the gut, what we now know as the microbiome, plays a big role in everything from mood to immunity. And when that balance is thrown off by too much sugar, the effects ripple out. There's a woman named Joyce, 72, who told me she'd been eating strawberry yogurt with granola every morning for 5 years. It felt like a healthy choice, but she was constantly bloated and her knees always felt inflamed. Her doctor suggested switching to plain Greek yogurt with cinnamon and fresh blueberries. Within a few weeks, the bloating eased, and she said her mornings felt lighter, calmer, and more stable. Another issue with many store-bought yogurts is the use of thickeners and stabilizers like carrageenan or modified cornstarch. These are added to create that creamy texture, but they don't support your health. In fact, they can irritate the gut lining in some people and reduce the absorption of nutrients, something seniors can't afford to lose. And even when yogurt is labeled low-fat or light, it often just means more sugar has been added to make up for lost flavor. This trade-off might look good on the calorie count, but inside your body, it causes stress that lingers far beyond breakfast. If you enjoy yogurt, you don't need to give it up. You just need to take control of what's in it. Choose plain Greek or unsweetened yogurt and add your own fruit, nuts, or a drizzle of honey if needed. That way, you're feeding your body probiotics, protein, and nutrients without the sugar spike or chemical overload. Because the right kind of breakfast doesn't just fill your stomach, it builds your foundation. And when you start your day nourishing your gut and brain, instead of stressing them, you feel the difference not just in your energy, but in your clarity, mood, and peace of mind. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, fruit juices that appear healthy but disrupt blood sugar. For many years, fruit juice has held a reputation as a wholesome way to begin the day. A glass of orange juice, for instance, is often associated with freshness, vitamin C, and a healthy lifestyle. But while it may taste bright and refreshing, that morning juice might not be as beneficial as it seems, especially for individuals over 60. As we age, our bodies respond differently to food. One of the most significant changes is a gradual decline in insulin sensitivity, which makes it harder for the body to regulate blood sugar efficiently. This is where fruit juice becomes problematic. Though marketed as nutritious, even 100% pure juice lacks the fiber that whole fruit contains. That missing fiber plays a critical role in slowing the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream. When you eat an orange, for example, the natural fibers in the pulp help control how quickly your body absorbs its sugar content. But when that same orange is juiced, the fiber is removed, leaving behind a concentrated dose of natural sugars that hit your system quickly. The result? A rapid spike in blood glucose, followed by a crash in energy. This roller coaster effect can leave older adults feeling tired, foggy, or even dizzy. What many people also don't realize is the quantity of fruit that goes into a single serving of juice. One glass of orange juice typically requires 3 to 4 oranges. That's a lot more sugar and calories than you'd likely consume if you were eating whole fruit. It puts an unexpected strain on the pancreas, especially for those already dealing with prediabetes, insulin resistance, or type 2 diabetes. Take Walter, a 75-year-old man who believed his morning routine was healthy. He would start each day with a tall glass of apple juice, convinced it was a better option than coffee. But over time, he began noticing dips in energy and occasional lightheadedness in the mornings. His A1C levels also started to climb. Upon visiting a nutritionist, he was advised to eliminate juice for a month and instead drink water and eat whole fruit. After just 3 weeks, Walter reported steadier energy throughout the day, and his doctor noted a measurable improvement in his blood sugar control. Orange juice might be the most commonly consumed breakfast juice, but other varieties like apple, grape, or cranberry juice are often worse. These options tend to be higher in sugar, and many commercial brands add sweeteners, preservatives, or artificial flavors on top of the naturally occurring sugars. Even light or reduced sugar juices sometimes contain chemical additives that don't do your digestive system any favors, particularly for older adults who may already experience slower digestion, sensitive stomachs, or irregular bowel movements. It's important to clarify that fruit itself isn't the villain here. The real issue lies in how it's processed. When fruit is blended, juiced, strained, or concentrated into a drinkable form, it loses its natural balance. The fiber, which acts as a buffer for sugar absorption and also supports digestive health, is stripped away. As a result, your body responds more like it would to a sugary soft drink than to a piece of fruit. This is why whole fruit is always the better choice. Eating an apple, a handful of berries, or a few orange slices allows you to enjoy natural sweetness along with essential fiber. That fiber not only helps prevent blood sugar spikes, but also promotes satiety, meaning you'll feel full longer and be less likely to snack unnecessarily between meals. For hydration, the best choices remain simple: water, herbal teas, or water infused with natural flavors like lemon, cucumber, or a few berries. These options refresh the body without triggering an insulin response or adding unnecessary sugar to your day. It's also worth noting that the impact of fruit juice is particularly significant in the morning. That's when the body's trying to find its rhythm for the day. Starting with a high-sugar beverage can throw off your energy levels, your hunger cues, and your ability to focus, all of which are vital as you aim to maintain mental clarity and physical stability in your later years. Ultimately, this isn't about cutting sweetness out of your life. It's about enjoying it in forms that support your health rather than surprise your system. A ripe piece of fruit can be just as satisfying as juice, but with benefits that last longer and do more good. Starting your day with balance and steady energy is one of the greatest gifts you can offer your body, especially as you aim to age with strength, independence, and well-being. By making thoughtful choices first thing in the morning, you set the tone for a day and a life that's energized, focused, and in tune with your body's needs. Number 6, heavy, butter-laden, or fried breakfast. For many people in their 60s, 70s, or older, breakfast often feels incomplete without something warm and satisfying, like buttery toast, fried eggs, or crispy hash browns cooked in a skillet. These traditional favorites offer a sense of comfort and routine. However, the way these foods are typically prepared, using liberal amounts of butter, oil, or frying fats, can have lingering negative effects on the body, especially as we get older. As we age, our digestive system naturally slows down. The stomach doesn't produce as much acid, the gallbladder may not function as efficiently, and our metabolism becomes less capable of processing fats. This means that meals rich in saturated fats, such as biscuits slathered in butter, potatoes fried in oil, or eggs cooked in greasy pans, take longer to digest and place extra stress on the liver. The result is often a lingering feeling of heaviness, sluggishness, or even mild nausea that can last well into the day. Take Leonard, a 76-year-old man who had long enjoyed a classic Southern breakfast every morning: eggs fried in butter, white toast, and a serving of hash browns. It had been his go-to meal for years, but recently he noticed that after eating, he felt foggy, fatigued, and slightly queasy. When he brought it up with his doctor, the suggestion was simple: keep the eggs but change the cooking method. Instead of frying them in butter, he began using a non-stick pan, skipped the toast buttering, and added leafy greens with whole grain bread. Within a few weeks, Leonard reported feeling lighter in the mornings and no longer needed a mid-morning nap. The problem with frying isn't limited to the fat content alone. When oils are heated to high temperatures, especially if they're reused or unstable, they can degrade into harmful compounds that increase inflammation in the body. This is particularly problematic for older adults who may already be dealing with arthritis, cardiovascular conditions, or chronic joint pain. For them, inflammatory foods can quietly worsen these issues. It's also worth noting that butter, although not inherently harmful, tends to be used excessively. A small pat turns into a generous slab. A quick smear on toast becomes a heavy-handed addition to the frying pan. When butter is combined with other high-fat foods like cheese, bacon, or creamy toppings, it creates a meal that overwhelms the body, especially first thing in the morning when the body's trying to wake up and find balance. The goal here isn't to eliminate warm or savory breakfasts. It's to make them lighter and more body-friendly. Eggs, for example, can be poached or soft-boiled instead of fried. Toast can be lightly brushed with olive oil in place of butter. Potatoes can be baked or roasted with herbs rather than being deep-fried. These minor changes retain flavor but significantly reduce the strain on the body, particularly when it comes to inflammation and digestion. Morning meals play a bigger role than just providing calories. They send powerful messages to the heart, brain, and digestive system. Each breakfast choice says, "I'm supporting your well-being," or conversely, "You're on your own." For those hoping to stay sharp, independent, and active well into later life, making gentler choices at breakfast can make a meaningful difference in how the rest of the day unfolds. If you're still here reading this and finding these insights helpful, take a moment to reflect. Perhaps even comment number 6 below to show you're engaged. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you won't miss future tips. Your support helps us continue producing thoughtful, informative content that can help improve lives. Before moving on with your day, pause and consider how your breakfast affects you, not just in taste, but in how you feel afterward. Do you feel steady and energized, clear-headed and ready to take on the day? Or do you find yourself bloated, groggy, or looking for a place to rest again? The truth is, breakfast can either support your body or weigh it down. Especially after the age of 60, your body isn't just looking for food in the morning, it's seeking support. It needs help to regulate blood sugar, manage inflammation, and maintain energy, clarity, and mobility. Many of the foods we grew up loving and still turn to out of habit, sugary cereals, salty processed meats, white bread, flavored yogurts, fruit juices, or butter-heavy meals, might be familiar, but they often do more harm than good. These items spike your blood sugar, burden your digestive system, and leave you feeling more drained than nourished. After carrying you through 6, 7, or even 8 decades of life, your body deserves better fuel. The good news is that you don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Small swaps can add up. Instead of juice, try water and fresh fruit. Thank you for spending time with us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below sharing one insight you took from this and how you might apply it in your daily life.